Mr. Razdan, I just want to understand from you, the issue of nuclear is very, very complex and very politically charged as well. There is a politics in it, there is geopolitics in it. And how do you see, because from the time of Mr. Homi J. Bhabha till date, we have managed to add only 8.8 gigawatt of energy, even though we wanted to do much more than this thing. Where do you think we remain stuck as a country? Do you think it was just because of policy, or there were other issues involved as well?
It's a very pertinent question. Nuclear power is associated with not only broadcasting as in waves in your profession or in print, it is associated with a technology which has more than one use. Whereas electricity is the one that you are talking about today essentially. There is the military side of it.
Right.
There's also the medicine side of it. There is the agriculture side of it. So it's a very, very versatile technology. And the technology holders are not keen that others join the club so easily. Or those who join remain tied to their apron strings in some form or the other. It has a destructive component and a history also. Unfortunate. So it's more than a dual-use technology. And wherever politics creeps in, or power rivalry, I should say, power of a different sort, not electric power, there are many factors and constraints which will determine whether those who have the technology want others to have it or not. And they will try, or history has shown, to trip you somewhere or deprive you of an essential component till you are fully sufficient yourself. Now, India has been moving on the path of, from the time of Homi Bhabha, to be independent in its own way. Of course, you had to collaborate with somebody who was using that technology in the past. But seeing India's vast energy needs and land constraint, right? Nuclear technology should have been a natural choice. And I wish we had grown much faster. I wish in the times when we could have expanded, we should have expanded. But unfortunately, we did not. And today, this technology is pretty expensive in a way. You need a lot of capital for it. There are also some safety requirements which has prevented this technology from being dispersed widely. Of course, it is used extensively, even, for example, your radioactivity in your scanning machines, in your X-rays. But unfortunately, the precautions that ought to be taken there are not taken at all times. But here, luckily, India has had a very good safety record. And there have been moments, for example, when I was in the Department of Atomic Energy, like the Chernobyl incident, right, where it showed you that you cannot take a risk beyond what is permitted, like in aviation. Then say Fukushima, right, you tried to save on safety features, right, redundancy, seeing the third level of safety or something like that. So there are associated challenges with this technology which has prevented its widespread use. Right. But be that as it may, the most developed countries in the world have had a strong nuclear power base. Whether it be US, whether it is Soviet Union, later Russia, even France, in fact, one country which I was going through the emissions contribution of leading countries of the world. And France's emissions are much lower in terms of percentage as compared to many other countries even smaller than it. And I think the primary I should say, the laurels should go to a vast contribution of nuclear power in there. It has the strengths of providing you round-the-year power. It's not weather dependent, right? But there's also a constraint that you cannot alter the amount of energy that you are generating from the system. Like some of the other sources. Example, hydro has that tremendous advantage. That you can vary your thing. So it's an ideal use for energy storage today. You can store, release when you want to release. Thermal, you can play around a bit, not too much, but still you can play around with your factors of production. And every country was owing to some propaganda against nuclear power, not prepared to go in for that, because there have been some antagonists also of this power, and not necessarily well-intentioned, because it can displace other competing commercial interests. Let's face it. Whether it is coal-based power, not only the raw material, but equipment manufacturers. There is also your gas-based power, people who want to sell more gas. So there are various factors which go into it. But yes, it is a technology which cannot be handed over to a novice. It has to follow strict regulations and those practices which are well recognized. You have to follow the safety norms which are approved by the International Atomic Energy Agency. There ought to be, I think, greater inspection, open to inspectors, but unfortunate that we have not harnessed it to the extent that we ought to. There are also nuclear materials, which are not freely available. And that has, over the years, become a kind of a trading commodity by power brokers in the world. So that is one of the factors, I think, among some of the others, which has stopped nuclear power from pertaining the amount of strength that it ought to attain.